Hello, biology students, and welcome to the Picturing a Scientist activity. All right, so in this activity, what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you an example of one that I've done already. You are going to be choosing an image that you think best represents or describes or epitomizes what a scientist is. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your name on top of a new slide. So it's going to be a shared class slideshow. So all you're going to do is make a new slide, put your name on the top of it so we can identify who had what picture. Then during our next class period, we're going to go through it. We're going to see kind of who picked what type of scientist or what type of person to represent a scientist. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility, as Spider-Man said. So don't be messing with your other classmates' slides. So be sure to be respectful of your classmates' choices. All right, so first of all, as I said before, you're going to put your name on the top of a new slide. You're going to find a picture that represents what you think a scientist looks like and paste it on that slide. You could also take a newspaper clipping or a magazine clipping, take a picture of it, maybe upload it. There's many options here. And then you will click the link below and fill out a quick Google form that shouldn't take you any more than like a minute to just explain why you picked who you did. All right, my example. So I have up top my name, Mr. Miller. All right, and the individual that I picked is actually a historical figure. I picked a historical scientist because I'm a big history buff, and I really like science history. I wish I could have taken a course on like the history of science because it's quite fascinating. Um, so my individual was Galileo Galilei, who we consider to be the father of observational astronomy. So he looked at the stars. And if you want to learn more about astronomy, feel free to sign up for Mr. Duncan's astronomy class. Really cool class. But Galileo, he lived a long time ago. I think it was the 1600s or 1500s. And he was under a lot of pressure from like the Pope and the Catholic Church because of the scientific things he was discovering, which were absolutely factual. So he wasn't afraid to essentially discover those things and share those things with the world, and we understand more about space because of it. So this is my picture of a scientist. So in terms of his clothing, I mean, nothing traditionally that you would think a scientist wears like today, like no lab coat, but old traditional clothing. All right, so I have my picture. Now I'm going to go ahead and click the link below to fill out a form. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this one. So essentially, Galileo was a male. His ethnicity, well, he was Italian, so I could say European, but I'm going to go ahead and be specific and put Italian, as you may have guessed from his name. Age range, ooh, I'm just going to take a guess here. I think he was older than 66 when this picture was taken. Work setting, well, I mean, back then, a scientist could have been working in like just an office, like their study of like a house. But I'm going to say he worked in a lab because laboratories existed back then to some degree. Physical features. So I might have to look back at the picture for this. So he had no glasses. He has a beard, kind of an elderly gentleman. So kind of not bald, but balding. He has a beard, using glassware. He may have, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So this is just your rationale and kind of like for us to collect data on kind of what people demographically do we think scientists are, because in the past it was largely a very male-dominated field, science, but that is no longer the case. Women have a very important part to play in science and have for centuries. If you think about Rosalind Franklin, she helped identify the structure of DNA, and that's one of the greatest scientific discoveries in the history of science. All right, so here is my survey, my Google form. I'll go ahead and just submit it. And then that's all you're going to do. And that concludes our Picturing a Scientist. And once we've completed this, each of us in each class will have a slide, and we'll just kind of toggle through our slideshow, and then I can read about why you picked who you did. All right, everybody, thanks. Have a terrific day.